Hi everyone and welcome back for the first night with Braevalar. I have set up the source, although it may not look like it. We still have green and white mana. Arithia has gained an extra white advanced action and another white crystal, so it wasn't the best of planning, but let's see how we can get on. We do need to start exploring some new tiles. Again, not the best for attacks, but good that we've got concentration in our hand. In terms of a knight tactic, what should we take? We could take preparation and choose a particular card into our hand. Although from where we are, I might look to just move into the Mage Tower. We could use our peasants either as move or influence, and we have the choice to pick up the Garden Golems or the Illusionists. Probably the Illusionists out of those, but they have 7 influence. We could use Promise for 4, 2 influence from our peasants, plus 1 from our reputation, and we'd just need 3 movement to get in. Yeah, that seems pretty good. We would have to throw away probably mana draw, in which case preparation doesn't really get us anything, because we'd just be drawing back up anyway. So perhaps mana draw for the option to re-roll. But I think let's go for Long Night. Let's try to go first, get through our D-Dack, and then get a few extra cards at the end of the night. So Arithia. Shame takes preparation. So we will go first. We'll use 1 with the land for 2 movement plus mana draw for 3. And we'll move back into the Mage Tower. We could have pillaged before our turn and got 2 extra cards, but then we'd lose the +1 influence. What we'll do here, we will spend our peasants for their 2 influence. We will use a white die from the source on Promise. So that would be a total of 6 influence and 7 because of our reputation. It's enough for the Illusionists. We did pick up the Herbalist at the end of last round, and we have only 2 units we can take, so what we'd do is replace the peasants with the Illusionists. And although the peasants have been used, the Illusionists will come back ready. Goodbye, peasants. So actually I suppose we'll keep mana draw and use Rage for the movement. That 3 movement. Yeah, I prefer mana draw. It does give us a few options. We'll reroll for the source, and it's blue. For Arithia then, she draws 3, and it's white. It's that new white. 2 more. And it's back round to us, so we draw 3 more. Crystallize, Crushing Bolt, and Determination. So again, not a lot to be getting on with here. We'll use Crystallize. We'll get a blue mana from it, and I think probably a green mana. Just simply to use them, get 2 crystals. The other option would be to use 3 of our cards to get enough movement either to get either onto the hills or through the desert here at night. I'm not sure I want to do that. No, let's use everything. We're going to get a few extra cards from Long Night anyway, so we'll spend Crystallize, Mana Draw, and Determination for the 3 movement. We can then use a green die from the source on Concentration, which gives us a siege attack of 5, which is enough to defeat these ghouls. So from this we will gain 2 fame, and 1 reputation. And we'll get another faction token. So we can add to an attack so long as it doesn't have an elemental element to it. Pretty good. Let's re-roll for the source. Another blue. And we used everything. Arithia then draws 3 and it's blue. So that's her turn done. So we've got a little bit of movement, some healing, a little bit of everything really. I think what we'll do is use the green die from the source to draw 2 more cards. And we have lots of movement, excellent, that's what I wanted to see. So we can go ahead, we could use our Herbalists for a green mana token to power March. Which could potentially be enough to move into the Mage Tower, but I don't think we want to attack. We've got no red mana available to us. Since we're quite blocked, we've got the water here, we would have to come to this one space and then we can only explore here. So I think we will just come up the desert here. But let's use our Herbalist to get that green mana token and increase March to move 4. Then we can just use Stamina as move 2. That gets us 6 movement. It'll be 3 to move here, 2 to explore this tile. We do still have 1 movement remaining. We have a rampaging token, so this is going to be an elementalist again. And you're meant to put a shield on them to show that they're rampaging, and who has revealed them will be the focus of their anger, I suppose. And what happens with a rampaging enemy, they will move after you have finished your movement for the round. If they are adjacent to you, they will, as an action, as your action for the round, attack you. So if we can get adjacent to them, they will attack us. I'm tempted to move on to the village. If I can get there, they'll move on to the... Oh, the magical glade will also be a graveyard. And that gets 2 face down tokens. Yeah, if we can get to the village, we could potentially look at pillaging it and attacking all 3 of these tokens at the same time. That might be a bit much for us, but we could pillage it, deal with the zombies, pillage it again, and deal with the other 2 tokens and take out this graveyard. That could be pretty good. Being a graveyard, we do have the option of Exploding Shield if we can get the mana. So that could come in very handy. We've generated 6 movement by spending these. We've spent 5 to get to the desert and exploring a tile. It would take 4 more to get to the village. So what we'll do is use Swiftness for 2 and then Threaten sideways. Move 2 and 2. And I will not reveal what's in that graveyard until we go onto it. Re-roll the die. Green, Arithia, then draws 3 cards. 3 white, 2 more. Only 4 cards left in her deck. We have drawn 3 more. These are our last 3. Oh, what we should have done when we finished our movement. He moved on here. So if we do, we could potentially draw 3 more cards and move into that graveyard and attack everything. We draw 2 more. Let's pillage the village we're on and draw 2 of the 3 cards we can get from Long Night. Okay, so we've drawn Crushing Bolt and Stamina. Definitely Crushing Bolt is quite nice. We could potentially get a ranged attack 6 with the crystals we've got, which would be enough to defeat the zombies there. But otherwise, They are cumbersome as well, so we've got a lot of movement, and we do still have this token. That would let us make another attack cumbersome and reduce it. As it is, we can't use Fire Block though, because we don't have any red mana. So unfortunately I don't think we'll go into the location attack everything. But let's provoke the zombies. So they are cumbersome and have 3 attacks of 1. So if we can generate 3 movement, we can stop all of their damage. Or we could use the range to kill them. I'd prefer to save the ranged attacks for attacking the graveyard. We've got plenty of blue dice in the source, so we can use 1 to get move 4 from stamina. With 4 movement, we can reduce all the attacks to 0. With the movement points, unlike with block, where we'd have to assign all the block to 1 attack and overblock it, the movement can be split. It generates it as a pool, and then you can just assign it. So that's why they're only worth 2 fame. They're not hard to avoid their attacks. 5 damage though. We'd probably have to look at improvisation for 3 and rage for 5. Does seem the best option, although it's a shame to get rid of the spell. Or we could use rage and discard this token actually. Saves improvisation, and we might even get the red mana for the spell. Just in case we do reroll this dice red. Yeah, let's use this token. So it will add 3 since it's only attack and not range or siege. That kills them. So we will gain 2 fame. We gain 1 reputation. And we can get 1 additional token. And this one turns an attack into a range. So we actually have 2 of those now. So we've only used these 2 cards. Let's reroll. It's black. Unfortunate. Arithia will draw 3. And it's green, so she doesn't draw any additional cards. In order to draw our final card, we're going to have to pillage this village again, which is a bit unfortunate. And there's not a huge amount we can do with our illusionists. Don't have any white mana in order to stop an enemy from attacking, but we can use them to get a white crystal, our swiftness. So let's lose our reputation and draw our final card. It is March. Not fantastic, but let's see. So we need 5 movement to get into the forest, but if we use Druidic Paths, we can make it 4 movement. They reduce 1 terrain by 1. So take the blue die. That's the movement we need to get into the graveyard. Once we're in there though, what are we generating? Improvisation can give us attack or block. We can power up Crushing Bolt and Swiftness. We can get movement from March for cumbersome. So hopefully between March and improvisation we could stop most attacks. Swiftness and Crushing Bolt will hopefully kill something at range. Yeah. We can block and reduce the other attack, and hopefully that's enough. Maybe kill it with improvisation. We could make improvisation a ranged attack using one of these tokens if it can only be killed with 3 attacks. So we might not need to use this token and move, but if we can't kill them, we can use the token and march to reduce it. So let's go in. Let's reveal what both these tokens are. Okay, so one of them is fortified and a summoner, so unfortunately we won't be able to take him out with our ranged attacks. And there is the defendability, so whoever we attack first will have 1 extra armor. We can kill one of them at ranged, and we won't be able to kill the other with the attack we generate. Yeah, there's no way to work it. If we had the red mana to get the extra attack 4, but unfortunately not. So let's use our illusionist to get a white crystal, which we can use to power swiftness. We can use the green crystal from our infantry for crushing bolt, and that's enough. We need 6, which is what we've created thanks to their defendability. We take these guys out. Goodbye. So that's 3 fame. That is enough to level up, but then we've got to deal with this attack. So unfortunately it's drawing a random green token. Okay, that's quite nice. We can just reduce it by 1 to make it cumbersome and then use March to ignore it completely. So those are used, but we cannot generate 5 attack. We cannot get the strong ability. We can only get an attack 3. Even if we didn't use March, we could only use it as an attack to make 4. Let's take our 3 fame and a token. That's 2 movement, and that doesn't provoke. 1, 2, 3 fame. We get 1 fame from leveling up. We can look at 2 of our tokens. Oh, that's the competitive skill. Influence 3, 2 at a keep, or 4 influence at a magical glade. I don't like that, so let's go with this token, or potentially got swordsmanship from Arithia, but that would mean that we have to take the lowest action from the advanced action offer, which is Temporal Portal. I'm not a huge fan of that. What I quite like in that offer is Ice Bolt. Another ranged attack gives us the option of a blue crystal. I think we'll go for it. Let's take Ice Bolt. Particularly with Crushing Bolt, it gives us good options for crystals or ranged attacks. So we need to put this token back. So in terms of the graveyard, if the enemies are not defeated, all remaining tokens remain on the space and they can be attacked later, but because we have to, as an action, choose to assault the graveyard from that space, I believe it acts like a monster den. We won't be pushed back. We don't have to do a forced retreat, so we will stay on this spot. Let's re-roll the die for the source. Stays blue. That's pretty good for us. Improvisation and the spell wasn't used, but these were, and we should have Ice Bolt on our draw card. Arithia draws her final card. And for our turn then. So again, unfortunately, we've got a fortified enemy, so we can't take them out. Can we do it with only 3 cards? We probably can, but have to take wounds. We do still have the option. We can reduce whatever he summons. We can reduce their attack by 1. We do have the choice of making movement, but we would need both attacks in order to kill him. But we could use that movement if the token drawn is very bad. But really it's just the extra 1 for defense, so we'll probably take some wounds. We could pass that on to the units if it's particularly bad. Or it is the end of the round, so they can just get shuffled back into our deck for the next round. Yeah, we've got to go for it. We can get an advanced action after we defeat this last token. So we'll be able to get that. If you defeat the last enemy, you liberate a graveyard. Gain the reward according to the order the graveyards were placed, so this will be an advanced action from the first. And once a graveyard has been liberated, you may seal it. So we will get that extra card, so we will get one extra turn, and we can use a dice from the source to seal the graveyard. Yes, so let's go for it. We'll draw a token and see what we have to deal with. Okay, that's really good. We can use our token. It's hard to block with swiftness, but we'll use the token here. We used it last round, but because it's a cooperative skill, we can use it in this case for exactly the same thing on the next round. So it makes it an attack 2, and then we have the illusionists. And although they've been used, we can assign damage to them. Damage to units is a bit different than assigning it to tokens. I'm not sure why they've done this, but unlike with the enemy tokens when they have resistance and you need twice as much damage because you just halve effect, what we'll do, rather than halving a normal attack after, in this case, that it's been reduced by 1, we don't halve it down to 1 and deal a wound. What we're going to do is treat it basically as a free sponge. He can take 2 physical damage before you start assigning damage. So in this case, we'll reduce it to 2 with the token. He'll take 2, the damage is now 0, and he doesn't take a wound. So it's quite different. If it had been an attack 5, he would sponge 2, and then there's still 3 damage, so he would absorb 2, and we would still take a wound. But we can now deal our damage to this token. We want to take the blue die for a ranged attack 3, and we can use improvisation for another 3 to get 6 and defeat him. Don't need that token. So we're going to get another faction token. It is the Amulet of Reawakening. Take any card at random from your discard pile and put it at the bottom of your deed deck. At the end of the turn, draw as if your hand limit is 1 higher. Not something we're going to use right now, but we've got 4 of these tokens now. We can use them as influence, or we can trade them in during an interaction for 1 fame apiece as well. So if we wanted to, we could cash some of them in to level up. But we're going to get 3 fame as well. 1, 2, 3. And get an advanced action. Not interested in Temple Portal, otherwise I would have taken it with Hot Swordsmanship when we leveled up. Diplomacy, I wasn't overly interested in it, but using influence as block and gaining an element is pretty good. And I think as well, we could use this influence as block and turn the block into attack. That's quite a nice combination. Otherwise, we've got pathfinding, which is a lot of movement. And it reduces the cost of terrain as well. So that's very useful. We've got a lot of moving we need to do. I think the skill we've picked up makes this better, but let's just check the wording on it to make sure we can do that. Shapeshift. Once a turn, 1 basic action card that gives... Okay, so basic action card. It can't be an advanced action card. Yeah. So in that case, let's take the movement. Songs of Wind, another movement card as the new card in the offer. So we reroll for the source and it's another black, 3 black mana. But we only have 1 card left in our draw deck and we know what we're planning to do. So Arithia calls end of round. We will draw our 1 final card. Unfortunately, we can't use mana to use this strong effect. we're going to be using it to close the portal in the graveyard, to seal this graveyard. So we can only get a move 2. Even with the reduced effect, we can't move through the forest, but let's seal this portal. We gain 1 reputation. So let's mark that as sealed. We can still use pathfinding as a move of 2. Yeah, let's move to the village and end the night there. We can see what we're going to draw the day. We do have to get on with exploring. This is only a 4-round game, so we are halfway through. We've only closed 1 of the graveyards. There's another one somewhere in these 2 tiles, and then we'll have the city to defeat the necromancer themselves in the necropolis. One of these. So we've got to get a move on. We should be able to, from there, explore both additional countryside tiles and see where we need to get to. That looks good. So we'll wrap this up here, and I'll hopefully see you soon for the next one. Take care and bye for now.